Welcome to another episode of Can You Reach That?
Can you reach that?
With your hosts, Tango and Coop. I want to say thanks to everybody for tuning in. We appreciate every viewer that we have, every subscriber that we have.
Indeed.
So if you could do us a favor, if you're not already subscribed, subscribe to the channel, like this video, and let us know what you think in the comments below. With that being said, let's get it. What are you doing?
What? Oh, I don't know what to do with my hands.
Can you reach that? You see that? Let's talk about it. Read that.
Believe that.
Let the people know that we see that.
And what they want to know.
Can you reach that?
Can you reach that?
Now your host. Can you reach
Can you
that?
reach that?
Cool.
Can you reach that?
Can you reach that?
Can you reach?
So you were just in Vegas last week?
I was.
Or weekend?
Nice little boys trip, birthday
what's
celebration. It was a good time. Vegas is expensive, bro, and it's hot. I know.
Wait, hold on. This is breaking news. So the desert
The desert is hot.
is hot?
Yeah, in case you didn't know, for all of you out there that don't know,
The desert's hot.
it's hot in the desert,
In the summer.
especially in the summer.
Got it.
Yeah.
I have to really remember that. That's a tough one. Not what I expected at all.
Yeah, it was good though. We had a good time.
What'd you guys get into?
We
Did somebody get left on the roof?
nah, we didn't go full on hangover.
That's good.
Event. Thought about it. There was some talks, but nah, we kept it pretty chill. We got some dinner. We did not a Korean barbecue. We did a Japanese barbecue, yakiniku. Friday night. Can't remember the name of it, but it was bomb as hell. You pay your price. It's like a 2-hour all you can eat.
Yeah.
You get all the food and everything like that. You okay? You need some water? You good?
Apparently. Second episode in a row.
Are you hitting puberty? You must be hitting your second growth spurt,
Sweet. I'll be able to reach even more.
right? Like you're not tall enough as it is.
Right. Hey.
Nah, but we did that
That's
Friday.
what's up. Sounds good.
Yeah,
Sounds
we
good.
did that Friday night. Food was bomb. We was like, it's one of those. I don't know if Korean barbecue works the same way, but it was like they bring you the menu, and then it's just a bunch of meat platters.
Right.
No diddy, and then you pick all the meat that you want. Pause, and then they bring it to the table. And like when we first got there, we were like, we want one of everything, and they were like,
What?
I'm sorry, we can't do that.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, what can you
They
do?
usually want you to pick like two.
They were like, well,
one or
we can
two.
do 5. And I'm
There you
like,
go.
all right, bet. So we basically, they had the way that the menu was set up, like it was rows of 5.
Right.
So we were just like, all right, well, we're
One
just
through
going to go
5.
down the road, So we got the first one. As soon as I started putting it on, I'm like, hey, let's get that second one ready. Because like, this is going to be going quick.
Right.
So yeah, 2 hours. I don't even know how much we went through, but
That's hey.
I don't even want, like what I want to say right now. I already know it sounds so suspect as fuck, but we ate a lot of meat that night.
So it was
no
one of those
Diddy.
famous white parties I've been hearing about.
It's a Diddy party. It's a Diddy party when
Hey.
there's a lot of meat involved.
No, I'm a big fan of that. Some of those restaurants, the Japanese
Yeah.
barbecue and the Korean barbecue, especially. I like going. There's a couple spots around here that I enjoy.
Yeah.
But sometimes I do feel like. So there's one that I go to that they don't actually set a time limit. It's all you can eat. You pay your price. But the ones that do that 2 hour,
Yeah.
I feel like they know what they're doing because you're like you said, you're like, hey, while we're cooking this, bring that next batch. Most places like that with their time, they're like, all right, and then they take their sweet.
No, they
time.
definitely throttle back. Like
Yeah.
after the second order that we put in,
Yeah.
like they stopped coming around as often.
Especially if
So
you
we would-
go,
we would go
especially
look
if you
for
go
'em.
with the crew. Like I mean, I know the crew's all big. You know what I'm saying? So you go in there and they're like, oh shit,
Yeah, they knew what was
they
up.
about to eat. So
knew what
let's
was
slow
up.
this down. Let's bring them small plates.
Yeah, it was
you know.
like 6 of us too. So
That's what I'm saying. But it tastes great though. Most of those places
It was great.
are, if it's done right.
Surprisingly,
Still kind of low key upset that I'm paying to cook my own food.
right? Like that.
Like
The
that.
first time I went to one of those, I was actually in Japan the first time I went to one,
Right.
and I'm like, oh, what are we doing? Like, well, I literally had just showed up. The next day, we wanted to go get some food. They were like, yeah, we're gonna take it to the spot. It's an all you can eat joint, including drinks. Like they
Yeah.
give you,
And then
it
you realize
was,
that you got to cook all the food yourself, and you're like,
yeah, it was. They call it awamari. It's basically
Word.
sake with water type of shit.
word.
But I sit down and I'm like, what's going on here? They're like, yeah, they bring you the meat and then you cook it. And I'm like, wait, so I'm paying to burn my own meat? Like I could do this at home. Like what? But after the experience, it was like, okay, this is
But that's the thing is it tastes good. It's good when it's done. I mean, they usually they give you the seasonings and stuff, and
Yeah.
the oils, and so you do it yourself and it comes out.
yeah. It came out good.
I guess it's like the way you like it, right? Because you're flavoring it to your own taste.
Right.
But at the same time, I'm like, wait, I'm paying how much, and then you want a tip, and you ain't doing it.
You ain't do nothing?
I'm doing all the
Right.
cooking.
You ain't do nothing but
So,
bring me
no.
my meat.
Bring
me my meat.
I think I mentioned this before with the tipping, man. But like, there's one of those automatic car washes by my crib.
Mm-hmm.
Every once in a while, I'll pull through. I get my real washes, but in between the real washes, I
Right.
do the automatics. And when you pay at the little kiosk, as you're driving through, you're reaching out your window, and when you pay, it asks 10%,
Ask for a tip
15%,
now?
20%, and I'm like, hold on, am I tipping the machine?
Wow.
Like, how is that asking for a tip?
That's that guilt trip shit, man. They be trying to get you on that guilt trip. Like, cause you see the tips on, like, me personally, when I see that tip, like, I feel bad not tipping.
Well, it's that, and then there's levels, right? There's I probably should tip because I know they're low wage.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a fair wage.
It's all a guilt
But
trip.
at the same time, you're like, hold up, why am I like if I'm walking up and ordering like fast food takeout, like why am I? It's not like you're a waiter.
Right.
And then the flip side to that is you're like, if I don't hit something, they gonna spit in my shit.
Right.
They gonna spit in my food.
It's crazy. It's hard. It's like, if I'm not sitting down, I shouldn't have to tip.
Like they're sitting there looking at you like, all right, let's see what he presses, see how deep I gotta grab this loogie.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I'll be wondering about that. Like, if I don't tip, are you gonna fuck with my food or?
Right.
Yeah. So it's like I'm walking up. Like, why am I walking up to a fast food joint and they're asking for a tip?
It's a spot over here that mom and pop shop. Food is bomb. It's a Tom's Burger type thing. Tams, along those lines. Those kind of places.
Right.
They're so cool there, man. The food is good, but like their kiosk does the same thing. So when you're paying, they're waiting. They're like right there watching. But here's the thing, because the screen is flat, so they can see as well, right? But here's the thing: you pay, like you do your tap or your whatever, right? And the second you do it, they reach over and they hit the no tip. They're quick with it. They don't want you to tip. And like because I remember the first time I went there, I was about to. He was like, nah. He was like, we don't. He was like, we're good, man. We don't need that. Like,
I guess they don't know they can take that screen off.
and I was like, wow, like that's kind of cool though.
That is cool. I appreciate them for that. I appreciate any business that
It low key makes me, because they got a jar too, so it low key makes me want to like, it guilts me into like,
in the tip.
all right,
jar.
so they try to be all cool about it, but then there's that tip jar right there, so maybe I should put but I hardly ever carry cash. Like,
Yeah.
I'm a no cash person. So,
Yeah, I appreciate any business that's looking out for its customers.
but Vegas, I know when I was out in Vegas the last time I was out there, it might as car washes was probably doing it, but it was you pumping gas at the thing, and the gas pump's asking if you
Asking
want
for
to,
a
you know what I
tip?
mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's expensive. Stuff
Yeah,
out there is crazy.
It's wild out there.
What else did you guys get into?
We Saturday we did a pool party. Big Sean was playing. I don't even know where to. I'm just the type of dude, like, you just tell me where to be there and I'll be there.
Right.
So I don't know. I don't even know the hotel we was at. I know it was a pool. It was on a roof. We paid a gang of money for one of the little VIP areas or whatever.
Right.
I'm glad we did. We was out there for a minute, and it was just people that were out there just sitting in the sun that whole time we was there, and we was there for easily 4 or 5 hours.
Right.
I
What you
couldn't
covered.
imagine. Yeah, like we went big this weekend. We did like VIP packages. We went to the
Right.
club and we got the table and all of that stuff.
That's right.
But yeah, something I'm not financially in a space to do that regularly. Doing it, I was like, okay, this is cool, but it definitely hit my pockets for a lot, and I was like, yeah, this ain't I need to get my bread up to be living like this, because it was a stretch. But we had a good time though. But we did the pool party. Big Sean was there. Big Sean was dope. He put on he did his thing, and then that night we hit Club Marquee. DJ
Okay, yeah,
Mustard.
for
DJ
sure.
Mustard was on the ones and twos out there.
That's what's up.
So place was lit. But like, again, like, I couldn't doing these things without the VIP, just general admission. I think I would have been crazy disappointed,
Right.
because at the pool, like, literally there's no shade,
Right.
there's no seats,
It's by design.
and if you're in the water, like, you're basically just getting magnified by the sun the whole time
Boiled.
you're there. Yeah.
Boiled. yeah.
Right. The slow boil.
Right.
So, we did the VIP there. We had the shade, so that was cool.
Yeah.
And then same
Yeah,
thing that night.
Usually those spots, I've been to a couple of usually those spots too. Now you got the shaded area, but they usually got the misters on.
Yeah, there
You
was
know,
no misters.
Oh, they had the misters.
They
Oh,
had no
okay, yeah, I've been to a
misters,
couple where they had the
Or maybe
misters over
maybe they
here.
did. Maybe they did
didn't turn them on?
in the extra cabanas
Oh, got you.
because they had like the structure cabanas.
Okay.
We had like the seats with the umbrellas around it.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Because the one I went to, they had the misters and all that stuff, and they had the cooling fans that were
Yeah.
blowing. So yeah, it
paying
was keeping you nice.
paying for the luxuries of comfort. It's crazy.
It wasn't cheap.
So there was that, and then at the club that night, like getting from the front to where our table was literally like walking through a mosh pit.
Right. Oh yeah.
And I was like, bro, I would not feel comfortable if I was in this pit. Like I just could, like it was too tight. Like everybody was shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah.
You can't turn around without bumping into somebody. I was like, yo,
Don't wear your finest kicks.
Nah, not at all. They definitely would have got fucked up. But I was like, yeah, this is madness. I couldn't like I'm not really a big crowd person anyway.
Right. Right.
The larger the crowd gets, the further back I fall.
Right.
Now the only time I am a crowd person is when I was drinking. Drunk me is like, yo, put me in the middle of all of this shit. But sober me, I'm like, man, get the fuck away from me, man. Like, why are you people here? Don't you have something to do?
Like I paid for this. I paid for this show. Why are y'all here?
Right. But no, it was cool. We got to the section. They had the little table set up. It was the way the congestion that we had up there is what I expected the whole club to be like. Because
Right.
it wasn't like open. It was like a little area, and then it had like 5 or 6 tables, and then each table had its own little party or whatever.
Yeah.
But like the spacing that we had up there, I was cool with that. So I'm like, I'm glad we did that. I'm glad we spent the money for that. But yeah, I don't know. And that was my first time doing either event. Like usually when I go to Vegas, I'm not doing anything.
Right.
I'm walking. I might hit a casino. It's mainly window shopping. I'm doing off strip stuff.
Hitting outlets.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm doing off strip shit. I'm not really a strip guy. I'm not a big gambler
Diddy?
because anytime I do gamble, no Diddy. Anytime I do gamble, I end up losing.
Right.
So for me, it's just like an automatic. Hey, if I'm gonna go to Vegas, like here's $500.
My
I'm probably gonna lose it, but
my
I'm
friends
gonna have some fun.
My friends have dubbed me the Vegas Leprechaun because, not to say that I've blown out the water on winnings and stuff, but like I've done okay.
If you come out, if you can leave Vegas and your trip is paid for and then some,
Well, every time we used to go, like we would play stuff, and for some reason I would just come up. I mean, I went out there one year. We was out there for CES.
yeah,
I was with my boy Sergio. We stopped in Prim on the way there. We stopped in Prim just to grab some food, and we was inside one of them whack casinos right there.
yeah,
And while we was waiting for our order. I popped like $5 into a slot machine and won like $800 just like
Just off of that?
on a spin.
dang,
So I was like, all right, and then we moved on to Vegas. So we was doing stuff in Vegas, like you said, just we was on the strip, we was window shopping, but doing stuff here and there.
yeah,
And then free drinks, right? So if you sit,
yeah.
So there was a spot where they were showing. It was I forgot what game was on. It was a replay though because it was later at night. But there was one of the bars right within the casinos, and they playing the replay. And so I sat down at one of the slot machines. My boy sat down. He was playing. I played a little bit, but I was watching the game and getting free beverages.
right,
And then I just turned again, and I popped a 5 in there, and I hit the thing, and I'm sitting there just like I'm watching the game and chilling, and sirens started hitting, and things started going off, and I had it was a 7-7 and a ×5, and I'm looking, I'm like, oh snap, like this hit something, and
Right.
I was not even privy to like the combos and whatever. I
Right,
just was
what's it-
hitting
yeah.
I was just hitting the max bet button, and that was that. And my boy's like, what happened? I'm like, look, and he's like, and so we're watching the thing just tally up, and it ended up being $4,700.
damn. Yeah,
So
see that has not.
I was just like, so I turned $5 into $600 or whatever at Prim. I can't remember if it was 6 or 8 now, to be honest with you, but it was a lot. It was decent.
Right.
And then I hit the 47. I still have a picture of the slip, the $4,700. It was $4,700. It was $4,750 technically, but I have a picture of the slip.
Yeah,
And yeah, I was just like,
yeah,
wow.
that's crazy.
And so did that, and then other times it was similar situations. 1,500 here, 1,000 here. But I'll tell you the worst horror story I ever had. The New York Casino.
Mm-hmm.
This was, I'll guesstimate and say probably like 2005 or 6.
Right,
We out there, and I had one of their dollar tokens.
right,
I was just trying to get rid of it because we was leaving. and they had one of them giant, oversized slot machines on the way out.
Did you pull the handle?
I popped the dollar in there, the dollar coin, you know, the New York dollar token. Popped it in there, pulled it. 777. $200.
Biggest leprechaun I've ever seen.
$200.
That's crazy.
The security guard that was right there was like, "Why didn't you max it?" And I'm like, "I was just trying to get rid of the." He was like, "You know, if you'd have maxed it to $3, you would have won $2 million."
Wow.
So I left there happy I had 200, but really depressed.
But
Like,
the crazy part
really
is, if you
depressed.
had put in the 3, would you have still won?
Right,
You know?
right. Yeah, I feel
it's
like those computer.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's
So
crazy.
But
That's
yeah,
wild.
like you know, there's been times too where even like, you know, going down to like Palm Springs, you know, some of the casinos that are down there. Yeah, I remember I was with my boy CJ, Prof, and them, and we were down there because I have a place out there, so
Yeah.
we were down there, and he was like, "Hey, my mom wants me to." She said if we went to drop a 20 in the machine and, you know, gamble for her. So I'm like, you know, whatever. So we pull up. I'm not trying to gamble. He just wanted to drop that 20 in there, just, you know, for her. And I was like, cool. So we went in there. He was like, what machine should I drop it in? And I was like, I don't know. And he was like, nah, dude, stop playing. He was like, what machine? And I'm like, dude, just put it in this one. And he's like, are you sure? I'm like, dog, just put, I don't care. Like, but he's looking at it like, dude, every time Tim's, and
Yeah.
then he's like, touch my money. And I'm like, touch your money. And he goes, touch my 20. I'm like, dog. And I just went like, you know, I like slap, you know, I reach over, I slap it,
Right.
you know, like whatever, dude. I was like, I was hungry. Like, let's go get some food, man. Like, just,
Right.
he drops it in there, gets a couple $100, and he's like, all right, bet, let's go. And I'm like, and I'm sitting there like, this isn't going to stop. Like, this is going to be an everyday
That's it,
thing.
all weekend,
Every time we do anything gambling, everybody's going to be like, touch my money.
Hey, everybody, rub Tango for good luck.
So I was just like, but at the same time, I was like, cool, because then he got to bring, you know, money back to mom's, and
Yeah.
you know, but I was just like, man, like, but you know, I wish that would work with lottery numbers. Like, let me hit that $2 billion Powerball
Yeah,
that was
that'd
out.
be dope.
You know, like,
That'll be dope. Yeah,
Cape Tango was waiting.
out of everybody that went, I'm the only one that didn't come up. Like, that's how bad it is for me. Like, I'm literally doing this. We all went. We all hit the tables at the same time.
Mimicking their bets.
Everybody's coming up but me. I'm like, yeah, this ain't for me. This is not for me. And I've always felt that way about gambling.
Right.
I go with people.
And I'm not even a gambler. That's the thing. It's like,
Yeah.
I budget myself when I go to a small budget because I'm not a gambler like that.
Yeah.
But I usually somehow.
I do it for the fun. It's like, I'm here
Yeah.
when in Rome. All right, let me take a couple $100 out. Like, let's see what happens. Let's go have some fun, you know. But
I'm
yeah,
not that
ever-
compulsive, you know, 100, 300, 500,000, you know,
Yeah.
just keep, you know, there was two things that blew my mind, but one of them, aside from almost winning $2 million, damn it, sad again. I remember going to Vegas one time, and we arrived, and there was this older lady on the slots right near where we was checking in.
Right.
So I seen her, you know, and she's just sitting there slapping the button, boom, 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 right, just playing. I want to say there were penny slots. I really don't remember like that, but I just remember we got there early in the morning, saw her. Later that night, we went out. She was still there. The following morning, when we were coming back, she was still there. The next day in the afternoon, we saw her. She's still there. And I remember walking over to her. I'm like, you love this machine, huh? You keep coming back. And she was like, coming back?
I never left.
She was like, I don't leave. She was like, I'm here for the whole weekend. And I'm like, wait, you mean literally here in this stool?
I don't even get a room. I just sit at the slots.
And she said, yeah, she comes down there for the weekend and she plays. And she has friends that are there. And they'll go out and do stuff, and they'll bring her food. They'll bring her stuff. And she said she will get up to use the restroom, but she comes right back to there. And if somebody's sitting there, she asks them politely to move. She plays the same machine.
The same machine the whole time.
Because her philosophy was, if I play this machine every time, the whole time I'm here, at some point something has to happen,
it's gonna
right?
pay out, yeah.
And the flip side to that is, or I should say the extended to that is she said every time she comes to Vegas, it's that same machine, that same chair, that same casino. That's her spot. And I was just like, wow.
Did you ask her about any payouts?
I did, and she said she hasn't gotten anything. She's gotten winnings, but she hasn't any jackpots or nothing significant yet. But the one question I failed to ask was how long had she been doing that?
Yeah.
But it sounded like she'd been doing it for a minute. Like,
Yeah, that's crazy.
But some people just have that gambling bug. I'm just not that person.
Yeah, I
Like,
agree.
Like I don't mind, like you said, you're there, you playing, having some fun, depending on the environment and what you're doing with your peoples. But I'm not trying to blow I'm not trying to blow the account.
Yeah,
I got responsibilities, got to be an adult.
for real, for real.
So,
I agree with that.
I usually set aside a little bit. If that's gone, that's gone. Now, if I win, I still treat that as my money. Like some people go, well, if I lose all of that, at least it wasn't mine to begin with,
Right.
so I don't care. At that point, it's mine. So the budget remains. If I lose this amount, I'm stopping. So, because if I come out on top, I don't want to blow it. I want to be on top.
Right.
I want to leave like,
I'm not trying to leave even.
yeah. So, but yeah,
Yeah,
man.
I don't want to get to, because I say everybody, I'm over exaggerating, but people tell me I don't gamble with enough money when I do.
Right.
I don't have enough to cover the hit to make it back up.
Right.
Is what they tell me.
Right.
And I'm like, I'm already losing $200. Like, what you want me to come to the table with $5?
Well,
like,
you lose 2, you got to bet 5 now so you can make up
to make it back up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then like what I'm not trying to do is get into that rabbit hole where I'm trying to chase the money that I lost.
Now you lost 5, so that makes 7. And it just becomes a nuisance.
Yeah.
At that point, I think that the whole Vegas experience now has just been, it's so catered to limelight, to shine bright, like it's always,
Shine bright like a diamond.
right. It's bright lights. It's the hope of whatever.
It's the hope. It's the hope of hitting it big.
It's living on that hope, and I think it's gotten so huge that you do have to. I mean, I know they say gambling's a disease. I totally get it, but man,
I feel like it's an addiction, just like anything else.
I'm happy that I'm really not into just throwing the money out like that.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna throw that much money out, I'm gonna go get something I want, because then at least I got something to show for it.
Right.
So.
Nah, it's crazy.
going
And
out-
it's ridiculous. I mean, just everything. The cost of living in itself is
Right.
astronomical. But like, especially somebody like me who's not a big gambler, who doesn't want to spend a lot of money. Like, if I want to find a cheap table, and what I would consider a cheap table is something like
Single deck.
$5, $10 tops. You pretty much got to go over to Fremont, or you got to go off the strip.
Off the strip, yeah.
Anything on the strip,
Find a single deck,
yeah,
blackjack.
anything on the
Start
strip,
counting.
you're looking at like a
Just-
25 minimum.
Right.
They did have some. They had like peak. We stayed at the Link, like right
Okay.
across from Caesar.
Yeah.
It's a nice little spot. But they did have some periods where they had like $15 minimums
Right.
on some of the tables.
Right.
So that was cool. But the money still went quick,
Yeah.
because it was I can't. I tried my hand at roulette, blackjack, craps, all the table games. No luck for me.
That's the flip side. You're out there. You're living on that level of hope. Like wait, what if?
Yeah.
But at the
This
same
could be
time,
it.
as much as there's that glitz and glamour for that, there's also, like you said, hitting up the shows. Like you said, Big Sean doing something, or DJ Mustard doing a set, or whatever. Right? Those concert venues, they tend to be, aside from the crowdedness of it,
Yeah.
they tend to be pretty solid shows because they try to really go all out.
Yeah.
So I'm always down for watching an event like that.
The shows are dope. But
Hey,
again, it's the whole trip.
Especially with his new music. I mean, there's a lot of
Yeah.
new stuff coming out, and if you can catch a show, by all means, man, that new music.
Yeah, last time we went to go see Janet Jackson.
Okay,
So
she's getting a residency out there now, right?
I want to say she is.
I think I saw something where
Yeah,
she's getting a residency.
coming up with one out there, and that'll be dope.
So is she taking like Celine's spot? Because I think, isn't Celine Dion?
I don't know.
I know her unfortunate situation medically. I think she's stepping aside, I want to say.
Oh, that's great. That's sad.
So, but yeah, I mean, Janet Jackson, I think she has all the
She's
tools
dope.
in her arsenal to put on a fantastic.
She's totally ready. It's crazy to think that we are of the generation that is doing residencies now.
Right.
Because in my mind, when I'm thinking residency, I'm thinking, Wayne Newton. Who am
It's not unusual. Right.
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 Like I'm thinking Rat Pack.
It's Wayne Newton. You're right.
Yeah.
It's Wayne Newton. Yeah, the Rat Pack.
So
yeah.
it's like, wait a minute, these are artists from the 80s and 90s that
So-
are now doing residencies.
So there's some of
man,
those
we're
artists now
old.
that are coming out with new albums, right?
Yeah,
Because I think LL has an album, MC Light has an album coming.
right. I heard
So,
about that.
What do you think? What do you think? Do they need residencies? Any of them need residencies?
I mean, that would be dope to see. But again,
LL
those
has the catalog for it.
residencies, he does. He definitely has a huge catalog for it. The thing about the residency, and I'm specifically going to use Usher as an example. I don't check ticket prices for
Right.
a lot of like I see him and I'm like, man, that would be dope. But it's Vegas. It's the whole thing. I was interested in going to see Usher during his residency. Those tickets were ridiculous.
Right.
Like $300, $250, $300, $500, like that. That's just too pricey for me.
Right.
Like I could $200 is the top of my comfort limit as far as spending the money on a ticket to go see somebody.
Right. I can see that. I mean,
And
yeah.
and maybe that's just me being cheap.
I think it's part the stature of the artist,
Mm-hmm.
and the other part is the size of the show. You know, you're paying for that experience. It's a full experience, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like that's when it comes to a Vegas residencies. In most situations, it's that experience. It's not
Yeah.
just you're like, hey, you're going to a show. He's going to perform on stage. That's it.
Yeah.
It's more of an experience.
It's the whole thing.
So yeah,
I get
So,
that, but it's just I mean, because we're talking 30 years ago
Right.
to do these events. You could go to a sporting event, get the nosebleeds for $25 or less.
Right. Right.
Nosebleeds now are costing you 3-4 times that.
Right.
We went to see Missy Elliott a little while back at, they don't call it the Staples Center anymore, at Crypto. And literally in the nosebleeds, all the way in the
still
highest
call it-
subsection,
I still call it
it's
Staples.
still Staples. Just like
It's
it's
like
still
Fox Hills Mall.
just like it's still the G
Still.
Dub, the
Like
G
when
Dub
people say you
form.
going to Westfield Mall, no, it's Fox Hills.
Fox Hills. The FH baby. But yeah, we went to go see Missy and we're up in the nosebleeds and
Yeah.
it was still $150 per ticket.
Yeah.
And I'm like, damn, this is for the like we're in the worst of the worst section that you can be. I don't know nothing about these venues.
There's
or
a
nothing
pole
like
right
that,
here.
though.
You got to lean around. To...
Oh, it wasn't no pole there, but we were so high up. Like
Right.
we were on the third level, so high up, we were above the lighting rig.
Ouch.
So in my mind, I'm thinking
Your
it's-
nose was really bleeding.
for real. I'm like, break out the binoculars. I'm thinking at a minimum, it's a stadium. They're gonna have, and you know, again, I'm
Like,
gonna do these things.
How are you at Crypto and you got your phone out watching the stream?
Trying to watch it, like zooming in and shit.
Right. You streaming it on YouTube live or something from somebody who's filming in the front row on live.
Be like, hey, you pay for the good seats. I'll just watch it from
Right.
where you sitting at. But for some reason, I just imagined there was gonna be like a jumbotron in the middle,
Right. Hey,
Showing-
they don't do that a
they
lot of
don't
times
do
now.
that.
Yeah.
and I'm like, wow.
There's
like, you
times where they'll
really-
have screens and stuff on the stage, but again,
And from
if
where
you're
we were
above the
sitting,
lighting, you're not even seeing those
we
screens.
couldn't even see the screens.
So,
The angle we
yeah.
was at, we couldn't even see them.
Right,
So it
right.
was just crazy. It's crazy how
I know
ridiculous.
Missy puts on a pretty dope show. I haven't seen her live yet, but that's one person I'd love to see. I've seen Busta Rhymes live, and it reminds me. I mean, I feel like they're the yin and the yang. They're the
Yeah,
opposites.
totally, 100%.
They're the same, but yet the opposite.
Yeah,
You know.
nah. Missy is a female Busta,
Yeah.
and Busta's a male version of Missy.
So, I
like
can
they're
see
both
that.
creative on levels that I can't even fathom.
So, what do you think about? I know I was briefly mentioning the
I was-
new albums
yeah, I
and
was
stuff
gonna get back to
coming
that.
out, but like, what do you think about MC Light coming? I mean, I was an MC Light fan, so I'm kind of looking forward to seeing what she's got as far as new content.
Huge MC Light fan. Loved the music that she did back in the day. And for anybody that's been watching or paying attention, we have discussed artists from our era putting out new music now.
Right.
Maybe briefly, but I think it's dope that we are not allowing, because for the most part, when you think about hip hop, when people talk about hip hop, it's a young person's game.
Mm-hmm.
You're usually in your 20s.
It's like an NBA contract.
basically.
Once you start getting to your late 30s, early 40s,
you kinda age out.
You gotta figure out your retirement plan.
Yeah, and they kind of have that same attitude when it comes to music and everything like that, especially specifically hip hop. Because when you think about rock, like ZZ Top,
Right.
Megadeth, like people talk about these bands like they're still
Right.
hot, whether they're putting out new music or not. But when it comes to hip hop, like the second that you hit 40 and you start putting out music, they're like, oh, what's this old man trying to do?
That's why I feel like like I was comparing it to NBA contracts.
Yeah.
Well, you got LeBron who's going into his 40s still playing, so I think like maybe now people are like, oh, let's let these artists speak.
Yeah, but I mean,
So-
it'll be. I mean, especially at this time now, because we're still kind of young. Hip hop just hit its 50-year anniversary. So I feel like, and I've seen this topic come up in
Right.
different circles before, the different genres of hip hop. I think it's time. We don't just need hip hop anymore. We need like,
Yes.
I don't know what the equivalent
Subgenres.
would be, but like an adult contemporary, or
Right.
a mature hip hop or a seasoned hip hop,
I mean,
whatever it is.
I mean, there's a whole genre of rock called oldies.
yeah.
All right, oldies. Old school. We call
Old
it old
school,
school.
yeah.
So we got old school. You know, and
But then
we
old
call
school,
it old school.
But then old school, I feel like old school refers to music from back then, not just a new artist that puts out music today.
Well, they're old school artists.
They're old
That's
school
what I'm saying.
artists.
So
Yeah,
so
yeah,
they're
yeah,
in
yeah,
that
yeah.
genre of old school music because they're old school artists. you know?
That's an interesting concept.
So-
But not for MC Light to be dropping an album. I'm looking forward to it. I've already heard. I haven't checked the whole album yet,
that
but
single.
yeah, she did a single with Queen Latifah called King
Right.
King.
Yeah.
Basically, shouting out black men. Like it's a good concept. I imagine the whole album is going to be on some uplifting, motivational, inspirational type vibe.
Right.
So I'm really looking forward to that. And then
LL.
she actually, well, it's funny that you mentioned LL because the reason that she's doing an album in the first place is because of LL.
Right. Right.
Like if I remember the story correctly, like he hit her up and was like, "Yo, what are you doing? Like, I see you making music and stuff, but like when you gonna drop something?" And she was like, "I was just doing it just to do it."
Right.
So then he like laid out a challenge to her and she accepted. She stepped up
That's
to the
dope.
plate.
That
So
is
now
dope.
she's making music. And then I seen she found this young girl, homegirl got to be like 4-year-old Van Van. Young little kid, musician, artist, rapper.
Right.
And then her and I don't want to butcher the name of the baby, but T.I.'s little girl, they're doing music together.
Okay.
So it's like
Building.
thinking back to the crisscrosses, thinking back to the ABCs, thinking back to the little Bow Wows who we thought were young to be rappers back then.
Right.
This chick is 4 years old
Right.
and has a flow that I can't. I mean, I'm not lyrically skilled in the least.
Drop your
but-
verse.
No, that comes later. That comes later. You want me to do a quick 16? All right, Sway.
Hit the beat.
Oh, I didn't know. I wasn't ready.
No,
Nah, but-
yeah. I mean, that's crazy. I mean, but at the same time, like, I'm all for it. Like, let's keep
I want to hear it. Yeah.
keep pushing the music forward. I mean, I know, when LL was talking about he was dropping a new album, I'm like, I instantly was like, all right, well, let's see what he's talking about,
Yeah.
And I've seen the leaks. There's leaks with a song with him and M. And
Fire.
he acknowledged it. I mean, he acknowledged that it's a real leak, but he said he alluded to the fact that may not be the final version, or might not even be the version that at all.
That
I mean, it
ends
might
up, yeah.
like what you're hearing might be something they did, but at the same time, they might drop something completely different.
Yeah.
So and if that's because it leaked and they decided to just change it, it could just be that somebody got their hands on a draft. I don't know, but I'm kind of looking forward to seeing what they got. I saw
Nah,
he
for real.
had some others. I think he had Fat Joe is what I think he mentioned, and I can't remember who else. I think it was Fat Joe, Rick Ross, a few other people that he's gonna have on there
Yeah.
along on different songs.
That'll be
not the same
dope.
song,
I'm
but-
looking forward to see it. I like seeing older artists put out age appropriate music, for lack of a
Right.
better way to say it. You
Right.
know? Like I don't want to as much as I love gangster rap, I don't want to hear Mac 10 still talking about running the streets and chicken hawking at
Right.
50 years old.
Right. Well, a couple of years ago, I know L put an album out. I mean, it wasn't commercial, so I don't think it got the level of maybe attention that maybe it was due.
Right.
But I know he had some songs there. He had a song with damn, now I'm brain farting. Damn, brain farting. I don't know why I'm brain farting all of a sudden. Do I have to pull my phone out and Google it? Nah, he had a song on there. It was damn. All right,
He's about to look.
damn. That's fucked up. It's fucked up because it didn't get the attention that I think it should have.
It's not, if it's not mainstream, because you say that it's the same thing with Nas. Nas has been dropping a lot of music.
It was
lately.
with Eddie Van Halen. It was a
Really?
single with Eddie Van Halen, and it was dope. And that album had like Snoop and a bunch of other people on there, man.
Yeah.
But I was just like, wow, he has a song with Eddie Van Halen. You know, like that's, you know, they're fairly close to the same generation of music. You know, like you said, like they're a little older now,
Right.
and the fact that there's this like track that has both of them on the same song and it
Yeah.
works, and it was energetic, it was dope. So I was just like, man, like, so I'm kind of curious to see what his album's gonna sound like, as well as MC Light. I mean, MC Light was like everywhere, like, you know, when we were young. So
Yeah.
I mean, I'm really looking forward to seeing some of that. You know,
I wonder if it's got the same like Walk This Way kind of vibe, you know, when Run DMC did their crossover.
for which one?
Walk This Way.
No, you're saying is it comparing
Where you say LL and
Eddie Van Halen?
Eddie Van
Well, that
Halen,
song's already
yeah.
out. No,
I know, but
No.
I'm saying like I haven't heard it yet. I'm
Oh,
just
okay.
saying like did it give off the same
No,
like
different.
rock rap kind of?
Yes, but no.
Yeah.
It was more. So that one was more like a speak and respond.
Mm,
You know, Run DMC.
yeah,
Spit their stuff, da 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 da, and then you had, you know, Aerosmith
yeah, coming
kind
in
of
behind
with
him.
the response, right?
Yeah, yeah,
This
yeah.
was more of like, you know, verses and hooks.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And then obviously the guitar,
Yeah.
you know, rocking out. But it wasn't a terrible song. It was a great song. I mean, I thought it was well done. It's just that it wasn't, you know, it's not. Again, it's looked
gotta
at as
check.
it's looked at as like, why, you know, I think people really look at like, you know, why is L dropping new music? But it's, for me, I'm like, oh, L is dropping new, you know, anytime somebody of my generation drops, I'm gonna
Yeah, I
want
wanna
to
check it out.
You know, so
It's to give it the age that we live in with technology being as accessible
I
as
mean,
it is.
I don't think his new album he's gonna come out, you know, ending careers and whatnot like he used to.
Right.
You know, I mean, I know he had
He's
his,
a big shit talker though.
oh, he
The crazy thing about
the beefs and
LL,
all that stuff. Yeah, I mean,
the
he
crazy
had his
thing
beefs.
about LL is he's so, I say extreme, but like the two ends that I see
Yeah.
is he's the ladies' man, the
Right.
LL Cool J, where
right,
it's all
well, his name, right?
yeah, it's all love ballads and I need love and I need an around the way girl, and then you flip.
I was
and
gonna
it's-
say he started off that way, right? Because he
Yeah.
started off with the, you know, when you look at like Bad and, you know, all that stuff, and then, but like you said, Around the Way Girl, and then he'd go into like, you know, I Need My Radio.
I
and,
need
you know,
love.
I need
Like, it
love.
was-
You know,
he was.
it just went back and forth. But then he got to that era where the joint with Boyz II Men
Mm-hmm.
and Loungin' and all them songs came out, and like you said, they were more catering to that. I don't wanna-
R&B vibe.
yeah, I don't want to call it soft because
Yeah,
that's not
no,
the
no.
right term, but it was
But
more.
it was more.
It was
yeah.
more light music, you know. And but then
We could say it was more for the ladies.
but then when people would say he does all that kind of stuff, he would turn around and say, "Oh, don't forget who I am," and then
Yeah.
he dropped something, you know, and like 4, 3, 2, 1, you know, dropped out, you know, and I know that kind of ignited.
Straight battle rap vibes. But you can certain songs when you pay attention. You mentioned 4, 3, 2, 1.
Right.
You can hear his competitive. Whenever
Oh,
he's a
yeah.
lot of times when he's on a track with somebody else, he's shitting on him. He's talking shit on him. I want to say, you know, like the
Well, I mean that's the start of the beef with Cannabis, right? There was that whole behind the scenes where he talked about his mic on his arm and he wanted to get the same tattoo and this and this and this,
Yeah.
right? And so he was like, "Nah," you know. And then he heard his verse and he was like, "Okay." He was like, "You might want to rewrite that. I don't want, you know, I don't want that." And so he went back
and
and
then he went back and rewrote his verse.
But
yeah,
but El was like, "I'm not going to change mine, you know, because now nobody's going to know, right?" Which is kind of true. Now nobody will know, but at the same time, the person that you're actually talking about knows. And then that ignited, obviously,
yeah.
First Round Knockout.
He found that,
and
he
then
found that
Return of the
disrespectful.
Ripper. And I can't lie, like Return of the Ripper, when he came out with that whole thing, that his cadence on that track, and the crazy part was like First Round Knockout had a video, it was on the radio, it was commercialized. Return of the Ripper was on the bonus disc of the DMX album.
Right.
So it was I don't want to say it was buried,
No, but it was buried.
but it was buried. It was the
Yeah.
last track on the bonus
yeah,
disc.
yeah.
But when I heard that, just the energy that he came with, the cadence of his voice, dude, he had that one spot. He's going call a paramedic and tell him the hypothetics and lyrics are energetic as sweet as a diabetic.
Yeah.
Career be over next year. Yeah, I mean, it was just the way he did it. Whew.
Yeah, bro's got flows.
And you have now you have a song that's on the bonus disc that never touched the radio, that didn't have a video, and it collapsed a career
Pretty much.
pretty much.
Pretty much. You didn't hear much from Cannabis after.
And then, you know, all these years later, you know, I saw an interview recently. Now that we're talking about this, I just saw an interview recently where he was acknowledged. I think it was on the Joe Budden podcast.
Right.
But he was acknowledging the beef, and he was like, it was ego, and he re-explained what happened, but he was like, but yeah, it was. I mean, it was a lot of ego. It was, probably very unnecessary.
It's cool that he has that awareness now.
But
I mean,
at that time,
isn't that what all beef is?
right? Usually,
It's all
usually.
ego.
Usually, are we going to reflect on Kendrick and Drake in 10 years, and they're going to be hanging out doing an interview together,
I wouldn't doubt
talking
it.
about remember this craziness? Why was you like
I wouldn't
this?
doubt it. I mean, if you look at it, a lot of relationships, it goes through its ups and downs.
I mean,
you
Jay-Z
know?
and Nas, right?
Yeah, like the crazy part is, as a consumer
Right.
of the artwork, for some reason we expect these beefs to last forever.
Right. Well, it's because you're looking for that competition, right? It's a sport.
Yeah.
It's a sport.
Yeah.
You see somebody that scored, and you're like, oh snap! Now they got to go on defense.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
And then it becomes a back and forth.
Yeah,
It's
so-
like, for some reason, we don't expect them to squash it. Like, we just expect the beef to keep going.
Well, it's
but-
like when you look at the news, right? If you see a story that says, hey, this person did a great thing in the neighborhood and they, whatever, right? They gave back to the community, da-da-da-da. There's a high-speed chase on the 405. What are you tuning into? You looking at
High-speed
the
chase.
high-speed chase. You looking
Yeah.
at the drama.
we like a train wreck.
So,
And we've leaned so much into that in society, especially in entertainment. Like, everything
Absolutely.
it's really what's causing a lot of strife amongst the population, because
I totally agree. I mean, that's just one of those things where it's like, I want to see whatever the most dramatic thing is. When it says don't click this to like you're on Instagram, it says
yeah, it's the first thing you want to do is
don't click this video unless you want to see something explicit or whatever. You're
First
like,
thing you wanna do is
show
click.
video anyways, because
It's crazy.
why would you not
Yeah.
at that point? Now you're like, well, this had to be so bad that they can't even show it unless I opt in.
Right.
So I'm gonna
I got to see it. Same thing with World Star. I feel like
right.
a lot of it, and maybe
World
it
Star.
started before this, but I feel like reality TV is what the catalyst was to get us to the point where we're at now.
Yeah.
Because prior to that, I won't say everything on TV was wholesome, but there definitely was a lot more,
Right.
Yeah, control and
Agreed.
regulation, and there was a lot more family friendly shows. Even though we still had our, late night TV where you had your
And that's just the thing is like the late night TV thing is sort of out the window with streaming, right? There is no late
there's
night,
no late night TV.
It's everything's out and you can any time of day, anytime. So
Yeah, but
that
again,
whole-
with the advancement of technologies, we always have information coming at us at all
Fingertips.
times. Back then, there was literally, we had one TV, unless you were balling and you had satellite,
right.
where you can get a bunch of extra channels and stuff. But for the most part, there was one source of information that everybody was tuned into.
My
It was
TV
either-
had 2 channels on and off.
right. We had a radio. It started with the radio. Everybody used to sit around the radio and listen to that. Then we got the TV. So whenever the shows would come on, and it used to be an event, same way with sporting events now.
Yeah.
Everybody
Because
would tune in.
you had to be ready at that time
To watch it.
If you missed it, you
You missed
it.
it. That was it. And you never got to see it again until it
So-
came on in syndication.
Right.
And then you can watch it, at 2 p.m. when Gilligan's Island was coming on.
right. Yeah,
But
man.
now it's like, and then they brought out the DVR so you could just record your shows. And now if you had, back then you had the VCR with your cassette, and then you could pop it in and record the shows off the TV.
Right.
So you wouldn't miss it. But then they came out with the DVR that did it automatically for you.
Right.
And now it's just on demand.
fingertips. You just tap it
Now
and
it's
play
just
it.
on demand.
Watch
It's
it when
like,
you want.
What do I want to? And I feel like, I know we're talking about movies and stuff, but I feel like it's the same thing with music.
It is. No, it's absolutely the same thing.
And
'Cause
it's
you can just get it at your fingertips, play it when you want, pause it when you want. You're not fast forwarding, rewinding. It's just
at all. You can just go to it. But I feel like that also makes it harder to find the music that you would really want,
right.
unless you're actually actively following that artist. Like
Right.
Nas, for example. Nas has been dropping, I won't say regularly, but Nas has been dropping a lot of albums lately.
Right,
a
right,
lot
right.
of music lately. And unless I'm consciously thinking about like, oh, let me go see what Nas is doing, like there's no real mainstream media that's like, hey, Nas has just dropped new music. Nas
Right.
put out a new album. Like you have to either be tapped into those networks
Exactly.
in order to find, or you have to be looking for that information to find
Right.
out that Nas dropped the album,
Right.
or that LL is dropping the album, or that MC Light is dropping the album. Like it's not being pushed
The way it used to
the
be.
way it used to be. And
I mean, I remember half of the new releases or coming soons was you looking at the source, or you're looking at Vibe magazine, or you're looking at
are those magazines even? Do we even have magazines like that anymore?
I want to say no, because
I don't-
I remember I was one of those I was one of those kids where you hit the supermarket, you'd be in the supermarket with your parents getting groceries.
Hit the
I
magazine
hit
now.
the magazine now, and
Yep.
I didn't necessarily buy the magazine, but I flipped
Flip
through it
real
and see
quick.
what I wanted to see, and
See who the hot freshmen are on the
right,
double XL.
how many mics, who got what, and,
Right.
and all that. But every once in a while you'd cop a copy depending on, maybe it was who was on the cover or whatever. But like, yeah, I mean, that was how you got it. It was either that or they mentioned DJs mentioned on the radio, or they get a single in advance, and you're like, oh, when that drops,
Yeah.
so
And who's listening to the radio now?
right. So now it's just all you just have to be in the know. I mean,
It's crazy.
that's
So
just what
much,
it is.
so much stuff out there. So much good stuff out there. It's hard to find all of it.
So I wanted to talk about the Olympics have obviously have been over for a minute, a couple weeks, but there was an interview where Dr. Dre. So LA's hosting the 2028 Olympics.
Woo woo.
Dr. Dre is.
When's the last time we had him? 85? 84?
I guess it'd be
86?
84. It'd be 4, right? Because yeah,
If you want to do your math and all of that, roughly 85.
according to my calculations. But yeah, he was in an interview recently, and he was stating that he wants to compete in archery. Apparently, he's I don't know if I want to call him a hobbyist. Maybe he's very serious.
Well, I heard he's been doing archery since he was a kid.
Yeah, that's according to that interview. So
Yeah.
so what he was saying was, the Olympics shoot at. I think he said it because I'm not privy to the Olympic archery, and that's not one of the events that I necessarily pay attention to.
Right.
If he's in it, I'm going to be watching.
Right.
But I think he said that the Olympic range is 70 meters, and he normally shoots in his backyard, or I think he said he has a setup in his backyard, but I think he said it's 90 meters.
Oh, so he's already.
So if he's saying that he's that good from 90 meters that he feels like he should be in the Olympics, 70 should be a touch easier.
Yeah, he should be able to qualify.
So I'm like, because a lot of people, there's the EGOT, right, where you get the Grammy, the Tony, the Emmy. What would I mean? I know Dre doesn't have all of those, but he's got the Grammys, right? But like, he's gonna add a gold medal.
A
Like,
medal?
that's a whole
Yeah.
nother dynamic. Like,
yeah.
that's craziness. So I'm kind of all for it. Like he sounded serious. I'm really hoping he is serious.
Nah, I think
I would
that's.
love to see. I will tune in
I
to
think
the Olympics just to watch. I mean, I watch Olympic events anyways, but I
Yeah.
would tune into archery to watch Dr.
watch Dr.
Dre,
Dre, 100%.
in LA.
100%.
That would be so dope.
That would be dope. I think it's dope that we're at a point now where, again, these are people from our generation,
Right.
slightly older. It's like 80s, late 70s, 80s, 90s, that time frame. But to see Dre be at a point in his life where these guys can literally do anything that they want to do,
Right.
and I think that that's so dope, especially coming from where we came from.
Right.
Like
I
for
think,
Snoop to be the
I was about to say that
the
hosting it,
spokesperson, if you will, the mascot, if you
'Cause
will, for the Olympics.
He was the level of entertainment value that came with Snoop, not only commentating, but they did like little segments where they had him out fencing and they had him out doing things.
Yeah.
The entertainment value just rose
100%.
tremendously. I mean, not just because it was, oh, this dude doesn't really know how to do these particular sports, but he's
Right.
doing them and it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
That's part of it, but the other aspect of it is Snoop has a specific personality type that is appealing.
Yeah.
So when he's doing
Very
stuff,
charismatic.
yeah, he's doing stuff and he's saying stuff. The way he says, the way he articulates his feelings and his thoughts, it's entertainment. It's great.
It is.
I think it's fantastic. I loved it when him and Kevin Hart sit there at the table doing.
And I wonder if that was like his audition to get him
Right.
to where he's at now.
They were like, we need more of this.
"What, horse crip walking, cuz?"
Right. That was. I mean,
That was hilarious.
So,
Those two
dog-
together, they were hilarious.
and it's crazy, just talking about between Snoop and Dre, but Flavor Flav in this Olympics, man, like he saw an issue with the women's water polo team,
Right.
and was like, hold up, let me sponsor this team, give them the funds that they need, and let's make this happen.
Yeah.
And they were showing him traveling with them, going over there doing that. Like, I think people really underestimate Flavor Flav. I mean, I met him twice. One time was at there was a huge concert event they did on Skid Row.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of artists that came out, and I got the pleasure of talking to Flavor Flav, and he's not what you expect, because being probably one of the most famous hype men ever, right?
Right.
Probably on that Mount Rushmore of hype men, you
Right.
know,
Yeah.
Spliff Stars, the
He's up there.
he,
yeah.
you know, the Flavor Flav. I mean, but talking to him, he's not what you expect. He's very smart. He's
nothing-
he's very talented.
It's a
I
personality.
mean, I remember watching an interview where he walked in and was like, they was talking about this like piano that was from like the 1800s, and he was like, "Can I play it?" And I'm sitting there like, "Oh, you crazy?" And they're like, "Yeah, go ahead." And I'm just like, "Oh, they gonna let Flavor Flav touch this 1800." Dude,
Nah,
he's classically trained.
He's
so
a
he
savant.
He went on, man.
He's a savant,
But
and
that-
it's the crazy part about it is it's personality. You know,
Yeah.
him
Oh,
being
yeah.
the hype man, like that's not. I think if you're just if every time you see him, that's who you see. The
Right.
clock, the glasses, the yeah boy,
Right.
You know, but like behind closed doors, like that's not who
Right.
he is as a person,
He's an entertainer. Flavor
Yeah.
Flav is an entertainer.
right? And that's who Flavor Flav is,
Right.
But and I don't even know what his real name is, but like
So,
him,
Mr. Flavor Flav.
Mr. Flavor Flav.
But no, he's a very. I mean, when I
He's
talked to
highly
him,
educated.
when I
Like,
talked to him, he was very, very cool person.
yeah,
Very not what I expected, and I don't
Yeah.
judge people like that. But like at the same time, he's Flavor Flav,
yeah,
so not what I expected. But the fact that he took that team in that situation, I mean, you're not talking about the dream team. Well, I'm not going to call this year's Olympic team the dream team, but the USA team.
right.
It's not something like that where they got their money. So if they had some issues, those players
They would have been taken care of, right?
But you got a team who was in a situation, regardless of what that was, but they were in a bind, and he came through for them, and now he came through with them. It wasn't like, oh, here's some money, I'm sponsoring
he
him.
hooked them up.
He traveled with them.
yeah.
He was with them. I thought that was so dope. And
Super dope. Like he basically, it's like adopt a team. I adopted this team, and I'm
100%,
yeah,
100%. So
it's
I
dope.
mean,
I love seeing people doing that.
If we had an award here on our show, I would say he got the Reach Award. I mean, he reached for it and got it. I mean, just by that whole effort that he did to make sure that they got and anything that they needed.
It's dope.
It was
And
very
it's
admirable.
like I would love to see that mentality, that aspect, make its way into inner city neighborhoods, like the way
100%.
that he adopted the way that he saw that there was an issue with this team, them not
Adopt a
having enough
school.
money. They were literally raising funds so that they can do this Olympic thing, and he was like, you know what, like I'm gonna take care of that.
Right.
So it's like it would be interesting to see some type of concept like that where other financially well artists would adopt a school or adopt a
Right.
city or adopt a neighborhood where they can go in and reinvest and be like, okay, the kids at these schools that want to do this, like we're gonna make sure they can do this stuff.
Right.
We're gonna make sure they got their
Yeah.
college prep and everything like that. Like that would be dope to see.
The other thing with that whole Flavor Flav situation that may appeal to you is Funko
You think so?
is going to commemorate that moment with a limited edition Funko Pop. So there's going to be a Flavor Flav with the whole water polo,
get
that he
up,
had.
yeah.
Basically the outfit he was wearing when they were showing him.
Yeah.
I think that's cool. I mean, as a Funko Pop collector, I already pre-ordered mine.
Same.
But yeah, I mean,
Yeah, it's already on pre-order.
shout outs to Flavor Flav, man. I think that was incredible. I think that was dope.
It was dope. Kudos. I love to see it. I love to see men out here, especially for a female sport like that.
Right. Yeah, that's what I mean. It was
Yeah.
like you can't tell me that anybody on this planet expected not
Last
just
person.
Flavor Flav, but
Last
anybody
person.
like that to go to that extent.
If
and
anything,
help the water polo team for the women's team.
if anything,
And I'm not putting them down by all means. They're athletes
None at
and
all.
they're talented. But what I'm saying is just the way society is built. That's
Yeah.
not what you expect.
yeah,
You-
no affiliation to them whatsoever. If anything, I would have thought Michael Phelps.
Right. Yeah. Something like
Right.
that. That would have made a lot of sense.
Right.
Right. But just to come out the side, just from left
Out
field,
the blue, yeah. He's like, nah, I got y'all. I was like, all right, Flav.
is dope. It's
All right,
dope.
Flav. We know what time it is.
It's dope. Yeah.
Yeah.
He knew what time it was.
He knew what
looked down.
time
He
it
was like,
was.
I know what I need to do.
Yep.
So, but super dope, man. But yeah, I mean, that's that. Like I said, if we decided maybe that's a new segment, man. Maybe we're gonna start doing the Reach Awards.
The Reach Awards. That'll be
And,
dope.
and every once in a while, we find a story like
Highlight
this. But
yeah.
I think Flavor Flav, if that's what we're calling it, he
Think
definitely gets the Reach
the
Award.
Reach Award of the day.
So that was dope. So
I like that. Got a new concept here for a segment.
and with that, I think likewise, we've reached it.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, I'm
Great conversation.
happy with it. I think this went well again, and want to
It's
reach
giddy,
out
giddy.
to the listeners, the viewers, and everybody. And once again, we appreciate everything and the support. And yeah, can you reach that?
Can you reach that?
Can you reach reach that?
Can You Reach That? Brought to you by Double One Entertainment in Coopersville. Hosted by Tango and Coop. And created and edited by Tim Greenlee and Brandon Adolphus. Music, sound design, and editing by Michael B. That's me. Visual art and graphic design by Jonathan Greenlee. Additional visual design by Timothy Greenlee.